Welcome to the FPS adventure. There's R6S, or in other words, Rainbow Six Siege. This FPS is the newest in the Rainbow Six installments and is currently in closed alpha. Without further ado, let's cover the basics of the alpha now. Keep in mind that this indeed is only closed alpha, meaning this hopefully will not be what we pay for, and when it's all said and done, it's not going to be the polished game. We're going to be expecting bugs, and hopefully they're going to be updating the game. But you can bet your right shield that we'll be covering on the channel, as well as the classes, and even more alpha coverage. So let's start with the simple home screen. Yet, there's not much that you could do right now, but right now the options that you have are indeed the options where you can fiddle around with the keyboard, and it shows you the control layout, video layout, and all such audio, even subtitles. Also what you can do is just click the multiplayer, and there's a notification tab. This is probably where they're going to be sending us patch notes telling us about events or even random messages. Like it's been like maybe even anniversaries is probably anniversaries of the game in a year. If the game is still going strong, they're probably going to be giving us a message this way, or even notifications from friends through Uplay and other things that you'll be messaged by. Or even another thing that I thought of was probably they'll be telling us about new maps, or even kind of the way Counter-Strike's been doing it, where they've been updating the homepage with news and things that are related to the game. Now, when you click play, you'll be given one of two things that'll happen to you. Either one, you're thrown into a game and it started because some bozo left, or B, you're sent to a waiting game lobby, and this is where you wait, people join, you can switch teams around, and you'll just be continuing the game from the beginning, and you'll choose your team, choose your class, and it goes on like that. Before we get too deep into the video, I'll explain what's already wrong here. One, I feel there should be a waiting room where people get told what they're going into, kind of like Call of Duty, which is kind of strange, and you may not be expecting me to pull this one out. But in Call of Duty, basically when you queue, it joins you into a lobby, you see the people you're playing with, you see the map, you see what's going on, you see you're already in a game in progress, and you don't get thrown in blindly like this, and you might have to start and you don't even know your score, your class, or what's going on. Now, before you start playing, you need to pick your class. And on both sides, no matter attackers or defenders, you'll be given a choice of 5 classes plus the recruit class. This is just a customizable class with no special equipment, and you'll get to choose your main gun, whether it be a FAMAS, a shotgun, etc., and also your secondary. I expect there to be actually more secondaries, because right now we just have like the 2 or 3 that there are, so hopefully they'll be updating that, because it's definitely a concern and we don't want to be seeing just those 3 secondaries and it's going to be bland and boring. Maybe even some more equipment or secondaries like tasers or close range things, whatever they can think of really, because this game really has a lot of potential. There's also drones. As soon as you start, if you're the attackers, you're sent as a drone, and you can move around the map and locate the hostage. And when you put the hostage, basically once you have him in sight on your mini-map, he's going to be on your HUD, and you'll be able to see where he is. Also, when you leave your drone, if enemy doesn't kill it, then when someone's dead, that's the only really option of view they have. So if you leave it in an advantageous spot, because they could also jump, so if you get height or something, they'll be able to tell you, talk to you on the mic and show you what they see. So drones can definitely be used in a good way, even when you're done scouting around. You could also use them mid-game. You could just throw down an extra drone apparently, and you can move it around, so right before you push in a room you could check it out. But just know that when you're doing this, you're blind and you can get killed without knowing. There's actually a class that has a drone that is a special drone because it can shock traps and enemies, and they kind of get zapped and stunned a little bit, but you only have a few charges. I think you have actually around 15 charges, so you might be spending extra time on your drone, but it could definitely be going a long way by helping your team. Buttons and detection of objects are strange though. For example, it may tell you that to press a certain button to activate a certain thing, but it's probably going to be correct most of the time, but sometimes it gives you wrong information. I've had that at the beginning, so honestly, trial and error is how I figured that out. Also, when you try to place, for example, a breach charge, it's not always going to come up, and you're going to be running up to that wall for half an hour, bumping your head until you can finally place your breach charge. Also, what I want to cover is that I'm hopefully going to be covering every single class in detail with plenty of playstyles you can do with any given class. So, subscribe for that, just saying, I'm just saying, alright, don't get all over my grill, Krillin. So let's continue on. The maps are small, yet that's kind of how they get the action going, but its action seems to be kind of lacking, which is strange. And people say this game is addictive and they want to jump right back into it, but I think it's addictive because people want some action, because the game, generally, you can spend like a whole game with getting 2 kills, which is very strange because there's going to be like 5 rounds. So if you're defending, it's going to be slow until they attack, then you might get a few kills if your traps don't get them or something like that. And since you don't revive when there's only 5 players, and they generally go down pretty quick, there's a lot of claymores and stuff you can be throwing down. That you can be sending out nitro charge, which you just click and they're dead. That could kill like many of them. So you know, there's not that much going on, so maybe people want to go back to it so they can finally get something to do. But another thing that kind of works into that is the time they give you to get the hostage, which is perfect. You can either hurry and sacrifice your time or your team, because if you rush in, you're going to be losing more teammates. But if you take your time, you might not be able to get in time and you lose the round. So that's definitely a good job on that. But the thing is that when you're dead, something that I don't really like is that, like I said, you can't really spectate first person your teammates. You have to look at the drones, and if the drones are EMP'd by the class that EMPs them, and then you're blind, kind of like scattering, or they're shot down, which means it's flat, you don't really get to do anything. You're just sitting there looking at a blank screen, or you're looking at someone staring at a wall because they're fucking jerking off while they're controlling the drone. So that's not really something too great about that. But the cameras for the defendants are great because you can look around the rooms and see exactly when they're pushing, which is a great idea. The button layout is strange, but it's like the directions in which you should be facing, for example, to reinforce a wall or to place a charge or to place a charge on the floor, it's not really obvious. So you're gonna have to experiment with that if you're playing the game yourself. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary and the gameplay. I would rate this game in alpha standards, obviously not in polished standards because that wouldn't do too great, but actually in alpha standards I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's hard to play, so people can't get an understanding of how the game's gonna feel. The buttons are strange, the detection is off, the guns are limited, there's not that much to, you know, play around with, and when you're dead it's gonna be very boring. Comparing this to other alphas like the Evolves or other games, this is one that isn't too well executed. You know, and they sent the alpha out with the detection, for example the breach charge like I mentioned. If that alone was fixed, that would definitely earn it at least an 8, because that's a very big factor, because you can't exactly get a feel of the fast pace if you're just running into the wall like this, you know. I hope they stay on top of the patches as well, because that's going to be making sure that we get a better game. For example, the release of Payday, that game, I have some footage on the channel. The release, they had 25 updates in the first like 2 months. So that's definitely an idea of, you know, staying on top, patching it, nerfing it, buffing, whatever needs to be done, updating, giving new games, and hopefully they don't add more content. They don't add more content that like DLCs that we're gonna have to pay for, but just things that we're expecting the game to be. But regardless of the score, I love this game, and I'll cover it on the channel, so subscribing will let you know when those are up. The class, I'm going to go over every class and give you viable strategies, and it's going to be hopefully very well executed. As you can see from my past 2 videos, I've been editing a lot, even the ones before that, but now, you know, I'm hoping the quality is up, so let me know, leave a like if you really like the new editing style. Definitely, you know, I'd appreciate that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.